Business owners tell me they feel like they need a crystal ball to see if marketing tactics are going to work or not. They hesitate, they worry, they fret. What I tell them is that you don't need a crystal ball. What you need is data. So today, let's talk about how to figure out if you've picked the right tactics, determine if they're working, they're not working, how you make them better. Spoiler alert, the answer to all these questions is always going to be data.
Inkyma's Marketing Strategies is a podcast for small business owners hosted by Audrey, co-founder and chief marketing strategist at Inkyma, helping you navigate the world of marketing so that you can market your business in the right way, see growth, and thrive regardless of the industry you're in. To learn more about Inkyma and what we do, ask a question, or schedule a marketing evaluation, go to the website inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. Listen to the show on your podcast player of choice, the Inkyma website, or the Inkyma YouTube channel. Just search for Inkyma Marketing Strategies and you'll find what you need.
So before we get into the meat of this episode, let's talk a little bit about housekeeping. And if you listen to past episodes, this is where I'm going to tell you everything that you want as far as follow-up is going to be in the show notes. We have links to all the episodes I'm going to mention. I'm also going to be mentioning quite a few products and tools that we use. And so if you want to use them or learn more about them, there's links to those in the show notes as well. And then if I ever list things out, sometimes I put the lists in there too. So definitely when you get done listening, go take a look at the show notes. When I start talking about data, the reaction I get is almost the same as when I talk about search engine optimization. That glazed look of horror and confusion, that queasy look. But unlike search engine optimization, data is the fuel to grow your business. How, you ask? Let's go over that. And I'm going to start with an example. So let's say you have a house painting business, home houses, and your goal is to grow your business through referrals from real estate agents because you've realized that for every real estate agent that you build a good relationship with, they're worth at least 5 or 6 referrals to customers to have their interiors, their exteriors painted, especially if they're a big seller agent, because they'll come in and they'll make recommendations on what needs to get painted before the house goes on the market. So the tactic based off of that goal is that you want to talk to more real estate agents via email marketing, right? There's tons and tons out there and you don't have the time to personally call or email them. So you want to do email marketing campaigns to introduce yourself and your business. You can set up sales funnels and then build lists organically through digital advertising, or maybe you get a list of agents through a group that you're part of. If you're a home sourcing type of group and there's a lot of real estate agents in the group, or you may decide to buy a list. There's a lot of the B2B email list buying are worth buying because of the fact that it's more of an open standard. Like we as business owners know that our email addresses are part of the public domain. And then sometimes we do want to be solicited for products and services that will help us grow our business too. I think that it's acceptable to do list buying for that. Consumers, not so much, but definitely for B2B. And by the way, small tangent here. If you are going to buy a list, or if you get a list from another source where the people didn't sign up individually themselves, I strongly suggest that you scrub those lists before you upload them to your CRM system. Many of the CRM systems protect their send process by if you start sending emails that shouldn't be sent to, they're invalid or something, they'll actually shut your list down for a while and make you jump through hoops to get it back, to kind of ban you. I like using a product called Zero Bounce. Link is in the show notes. To scrub my list before I put it into my CRM system or my client's CRM. And Zero Bounce is awesome because it will categorize your entire list and say, these are good, these are skeptical, these people are on do not send lists. And then it takes it and then it creates separate CSV files for all of them. So you can just grab the right one and upload that and get rid of the others. So highly recommend that. I have been burned by the ban, and that's why we use Zero Bounce. So let's say you set up your sales funnel to talk to them about how you're different, how your painting company is different, and an offer call to action is meet with us. get connected, let's talk. So the question is, how do you know if it's worked, right? This is where data is important. Most CRM email systems, and definitely my fave, MailChimp, have very detailed, robust campaign reports that will help you determine if it's working well, or if it's not working at all, and places to figure out how to change things and different tactics. So let's dive into that. So on average, when we look at email reports for our clients and for ourselves, if you have an open rate of 5% or greater, you're doing good. That's actually really, really good. And then click-through rates between 1 and 5% are awesome too, especially for service-based businesses that are maybe not really overly popular, and especially if you're doing this B2B. And you can dive deeper into these reports as well. So they're going to give you the open rates, the click-through rates. But the nice thing is you get to see exactly by user who has done what. Jane opened this 10 times, but John opened it once, but he clicked through right away. You got a click versus just an open. And so those are really good indicators to see if your content is engaging and what the audience wants. So let's say you didn't get your 1% click through, or you got less than a 5% open rate. Now you got to ask yourself the question, why? And when you look at that data, so for open rates, typically if you don't have a great open rate, your subject line isn't resonating with the audience. Think about it. If you're a real estate agent and you see the title come into your inbox, work with great painters that are going to make you look like a rock star to your customers versus, hey, try out our painting services, which one are you going to click on? One, you're asking for something. The other one, you're telling them what you're going to do for them. I bet you're going to get a better open rate for A than you will with B. And so speaking of A/B, there's A/B testing, where you can actually test content and subject lines against each other, different language, to see which one's getting better results. So if your first version doesn't do great, consider creating A/B testing versions. And we have an episode about A/B testing that you can listen to learn all about that and get excited and all those things. And MailChimp absolutely 100% supports A/B testing natively at sign-up level. So it's sitting right there, so that you can get the results that you want. Even if your results were good, maybe you're the type of person, I want this to be better. You can start tweaking things, tweak different pictures, different language, call to action button colors, all that good stuff to get yourself to the next level with these open and click-through rates. This is why the data is so important. It helps you figure out what's working, what's not working, if it is working, how to make it better, and at least a general idea of where to change things. And really, you can only answer these questions or know what's going on if you're looking at the data. And so you use this data to measure against your strategic goals, right? So if you say, I want to do this, and you create tactics, and then you look at the data, and if you're not meeting your goals, at least the data is telling you that. So I've got a personal story for you. I think that kind of what put me on my soapbox of data, and this happened quite a few years ago. Actually, it was year 1 or 2 when we opened the agency. So I had a client, one of my first clients. I was so excited, and we're doing digital advertising for him. And he's a service-based company, and they clean homes and they clean commercial buildings. And so we did all the ads and everything, and his business was doing well. But then he comes to me 6 months later and says, you know what? I don't want to do digital ads anymore. I'm going to go try doing this. Like, I think he tried postcards or some other type of outbound marketing tactic. And I was like, why? He's like, I don't know. Like he got bored, and then he saw the latest shiny object, and I had no way of saying, but this is working for you. His business was growing. He was doing well. So it wasn't about not spending the money. It was finding a different place to spend that money. So I went and I dug and I looked at the data. And what I realized is, in fact, we were doing really well for him. Like, we were a really great source, but I never told him that. I never looked at the data before. Because of that, we have implemented, like right from then, reporting for every client that does any type of ongoing marketing with us, data reports that we review with them on a monthly basis. It is a base part of all of our packages. And so every month I go through with clients and I say, here's your data. Here's what I think is good. Here's what I think we need to fix. And then I follow up with that because they're my client. Here's what I'm going to do to make it better, to fix it, to do these things. And since we've implemented that, we've made it better and better. And we don't lose clients to tactics not working and they go chase other shiny objects, right? Honestly, we lose them if they don't participate in the meetings because they're not interested, because they're looking at something else. They get really distracted and I can't get them to engage, or something else happens. The business shuts down, they go in a completely different direction, all those weird reasons, but not because we couldn't prove that what we were doing was beneficial to them. Okay, I can hear it loud and clear in my head, but how do I get the data? Audrey, I want this data. I understand it's going to help me, but how do I get it? This is the big barrier. So let's walk through a few data sources because there are gazillions out there. And depending on what tactics you're focusing on, that's going to help you decide which data sources you need to pay attention to. And they're all in different places, right? Different data sources, different places. We're going to talk about them individually, but the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is how you can aggregate them and look at them all in one place. So fear not, you are not destined to go 9 different places to get all of your data to make sense of it, because I certainly don't do that for my clients. So your data sources will depend on your tactics, right? That you've implemented based off of your strategies and goals. So make sure you go and listen to episode 1, which is strategy versus tactics. They're not the same thing. Really great overview of what they are. Make sure you have both. So this is easiest if I walk you through an example of tactics and data sources associated to them. So let's pretend for your business, here are a few tactics. You've built a website that drives leads, right? They come to the site and your imagery, video, copy is compelling to get them to take action. Sign up for something, fill out a form, schedule a meeting, whatever, buy something. And then you're also using search engine optimization to get them to the site, as well as Google digital ads to also drive traffic to the site. So that's paid traffic versus organic traffic, and you're using both. Then once they get to the site, if they don't buy right away, you have a wonderful little sign up or offer or giveaway. You could have 3 to 4 of these to get the leads, to keep them warm. And then a recurring newsletter that goes out every month, twice a month, to stay in front of these people so that 6 months down the road, if they're ready to buy, they remember you because you've been in their inbox often. So with these 4 tactics, there are 4 data sources, and let's go through what they are and what they're called. So for website data, Google Analytics, right? Google's the #1 search engine. They are the ones that are gathering the most data for you, and it's a very robust tool, and it's free. So for search data, I like Google Search Console. Again, it's a Google product. We're doing most of our searching on Google, so it's native. It's search collection system, and it's free. You may see ads and stuff for these paid services that tell you what keywords your site's ranking for, but they're all pulling their data from Google, and they may be doing secondary sources where they're pulling it from Bing or other ones, but like 99% of your data is coming from Google. Source number 3 is your Google Ads Manager for your digital advertising data, right? That is also the tool where you create the ads, and so the data sits inside the same place, which is convenient. That is also free because Google wants you to build ads. And then the next source for this is your email CRM system. So if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or some other mail system, you create the emails and you send the emails and your list is in there. Your reporting data on how all of that is doing is also inside that same system. So your 4 data sources and where they're located. So now let's talk about what you want from each of them to make this a little clearer. So your website data, there's tons and tons of data there, right? You could get lost in that data. So the main things that I want you to pay attention to is how many visitors your site's getting, and then the average page views per visitor. You want to see the visitors increase month to month. And then you want your page visits to be on average more than 1 page. If it's 2 pages, 3 pages, great. That means they're clicking around and they're browsing your site. They're not just coming and leaving. And that shows an engaged audience. The other thing you want to look at is the source of where your visitors came from. There's a source section, it'll say referring source, and it will tell you that so many of these visitors came from Facebook. They came from LinkedIn. They came from your Google digital ad. They came organically. They typed your URL into the search bar. That's called direct. You want to know this because this is going to help you decide where to put material out into the internet and the social world to get people to come. So let's say one of your top sources is LinkedIn and maybe Facebook's not doing so great. Put more content out on LinkedIn and less on Facebook, especially if you don't have the time or money to do all of them. Also with visitor data, keep in mind that if you have a seasonal business, it's going to be reflected in your data. So don't get worried or wigged out if you have a low month especially if you're expecting to have a low month. So let's take an example. Let's say you own a gym. You know, December, your website data is probably going to be flat or go down, probably starting in November, actually, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that kind of stuff. People are eating, not talking about going to the gym. But in January, when New Year's resolutions happen and people want to get off that winter weight, we see traffic to gym websites spike, right? So know your season. And then if your data correlates with your season, then you're doing okay. Search data. So the search data shows the search terms that people are using to get to your site, or to get your site to show up in search is probably the better way to say that. So it's impressions, clicks, and your average position on the search page is what you want to look at. And this data is really good if you have a blog. And if you're focused on search engine optimization, you absolutely want to have a blog, because that's where all your rich keyword, what they call long tail keyword phrases, come from. And of course, your business name and your products and your services. So this data helps you figure out what to write about, right? Whether it's a social post, a blog article, or helps you figure out what content that you've created in the past that you need to resurface. Because if you've got evergreen content, exercise content from last year in January may still be relevant and useful again this January. You just need to spruce it up and bring it back to the top. So an example I'm going to give you is I have a client. They do in-home senior care. They send nurses and aides to seniors that live at home that need a little extra help and someone to check in on them or give medications and that kind of thing. And this is a locally owned small business, and there are franchised competitors all over the country and not just in their area. So for them, it's hard to rank on in-home senior healthcare compared to these other guys. But where we rank them is in their blog content. And one of their best search terms is night terrors in seniors or senior citizens. And we have multiple articles out there for that rank really, really well. And what's nice is someone will click through that, read the article, and then go and look at the services, go click on the calls to actions. And then certain times of year, we resurface that content. Usually when daylight savings kicks in and the days get longer and there's more nighttime, we usually see a spike in people searching for this term, because that's when the night terrors can crop up. Or if they have a change in medication, we've got all sorts of articles about that. You're listening to Inkyma's Marketing Strategies, and we're talking about data and reporting today. But I have a quick special offer for all my e-commerce business owners. Are you interested in utilizing Shopify? If you are, my offer for you is that we can provide you a free forever development environment until your site goes live. Now, normally on your own, Shopify offers you a 14-day free trial, which is not enough time to develop a really good e-commerce site and launch it. You usually wind up having to pay before you're earning any money. But because we are certified Shopify partners, we get free development environments. And so if you're interested in getting a free development environment, we don't have to do the development for you. Schedule some time. Let's make sure your e-commerce site is a good fit for our environment, and we'll set it up for you and you can go to town with it. The link is on our website, Inkyma.com. Just schedule a meeting and get your free development environment for Shopify. So now let's talk about digital advertising. The things you want to look at for digital advertising is impressions, clicks, video views. If you have a video attached to your ad, or if it's a YouTube ad, right, like a commercial, you want to see how many people are actually watching it. And the other thing is you have to set them up, but you want to track conversions. This is gold, right? That's how you're really going to tell if your ad is doing what you want it to do. So if it's an awareness ad, impressions, clicks, and views, great. But what if you want to generate leads? So in this example, we're trying to get people to come to the site and do something, right? And become a lead. So for purchases and online store, that's pretty simple, right? You buy the things. Service-based businesses, here's what I like to do. What I do for them that generates and gets counted as a lead, or people that click on telephone numbers, the click to call feature, They click on links to schedule the appointment if you have an appointment scheduler, fill out a contact form, or even sign up for the newsletter. I confirm with the client that we can use one or all of these depending on what is on the website and agree that yes, that can be considered as a lead and therefore a conversion. So when we look at the data for advertising, if we see in a month 20,000 impressions, 5,000 click-throughs, 10,000 video views, and then we have 10 conversions, we know that from all of that, 10 people took an action that we think of as a lead because we collected something from them. And so the last one is the email system. And so here we're looking at subscribers, open rates, and click-through rates. So if you have an email capture mechanism on your website, signing up for a newsletter, a high-value download to give us your email address and you put them through a sales funnel, look at your subscribers. Systems like MailChimp on their dashboard will show you in any given time frame if you have increased or decreased your total number of subscribers. Decrease would be people are unsubscribing, they don't want your content anymore. New subscribers are coming in from your website, but you can actually have people coming in through digital advertising. You can run ads to get people to sign up for stuff or on your social pages. And so when you click into these new subscribers, you can see where they came from. The source is located, which is extremely helpful because then you know better where these folks are coming from and then signing up for your emails. So when you send an email, we talked about this, your open rates and your click-through rates are important. Open rates are going to tell you if your subject lines are working, right? Because that's the reason why people open emails. Your click-through rates are going to tell you whether or not your content, your imagery, your buttons are compelling enough and getting them to digest the material for them to take the action. And then depending, you may have 2 or 3 different areas they can click through to. What are they clicking on? MailChimp and a lot of the other like Constant Contact, they've implemented heat maps so you can see little dots on the email where they clicked. So it's a visual representation, kind of cool. MailChimp also has a really cool industry average feature. So when you set it up, if you put in what your industry is, and hopefully they have your industry because they don't have them all, they'll actually show you how your open and click-through and unsubscribe rates are doing compared to other people in the industry that they have data for, which is good. If you're brand new, this helps you, but over time, you're going to want to compare yourself to your own data because your company, your list, what you do, how you do it, where you do it is very unique. And so the industry average data is only going to take you so far. So in this example, I talked about 4 different tools. You got to go to 4 different places and pull all this different data. And that's a little mentally taxing and it takes a lot of time. And so what I do and what I prefer to do is to pull all that high level data into one place so where I can look at it. And then if I'm like, oh, I see an anomaly in Google Analytics, I can go deep dive and search out that one thing, but that's my choice. But the rest of it's together. And so we use Google Data Studio as the aggregate report builder. And it lets you slice and dice things all in different ways. That is free. And then to pull the data, what we call aggregate the data source, we use a service by a company called Supermetrics, where they have all those data sources and you connect it to Google Data Studio and it pulls your data in. And it's real time and it's live about 24 hours old. It's not real time within the minute, but it's really close. So you can do graphs, charts, lists of data, and then you can play with timeframes. You can look at 6 months, you can look at 1 day, you can look at 4 days, and it'll pull all that data in, and then you can see how things correlate. So for an example, one correlation that we like to look at for all of our new clients is search engine optimization to digital ads when trying to drive traffic to a website. So everybody wants traffic right away, and digital ads are the way to do that until the SEO kicks in. And so what we look for in the source data of Google Analytics in a report is if we know that the ads are doing well, and then we see search engine terms start coming up, we should start seeing in the analytics data where the organic referral line becomes a larger number. More people are using that than what's coming through the digital ads. And then we can have that conversation with our client to see if they want to continue to run the ads or not. Or do we focus and run different ads? So pretty cool. So now is the time for you to take some action with all this knowledge. So number 1, determine your data sources for each of your tactics and go through the process like I did. If it's website, you need this. And a lot of the services that you pay for, the data reporting is included. So a lot of it's built in, but for website, Google Analytics, search, Google Search Console. And then If you're running ads, the data is inside the ad. So if you're doing Pinterest ads, your Pinterest ad data is going to be inside the Pinterest ad creation tool. Learn your data source tools and how to read the data. And every single one of the major ones, they're going to have YouTube videos to help you figure out what you're looking for and how to look for it. And then third, if you get into this and you're tired of looking at all the data sources individually, utilize Google Data Studio and Supermetrics. We have a link to Supermetrics in the show notes for you to link through and you can sign up. That way you can look at and correlate your data all in one place. So my final thoughts for you is that setting this up is going to be challenging. It took us years and we're constantly refining what we're doing and how we're doing it for clients, but you got to start somewhere. So this is going to be challenging. And because it's challenging, it's the reason why most business owners ignore it and don't use it. And then they hope that their tactics and strategies work. Hope is not a good marketing strategy. The really great, successful business owners, they embrace data, they figure out how to use it, and they use it to make really good business decisions. And so what I'm going to share with you now is you don't have to set this all up yourself. You don't have to become a data studio expert. You don't have to become a Supermetrics expert. Reach out to me or someone like me that knows how to set up data reports and get all that set up for you and have them teach you how to look at it and how to interpret it. You don't have to hire them for a lifetime. It can be a one-time project, which is cost effective, but I do recommend that you do it. So don't skip this. Here at Inkyma, we like to give back to the business community. I provide a free 45-minute consultation to any business owner. Maybe you want to talk about Google Data Studio and Supermetrics and how that gets set up or how to interpret something that you see in the search console. We are here for you and can answer those questions for you. Or maybe you want to talk about setting up your dev environment in Shopify and taking us up on our offer for a free dev environment. That 45 minutes is for you and what you need. Just go to our website, inkyma.com, inkyma.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button to schedule your marketing evaluation. Pick a date and time, and we are on the calendar. I hope you found this information not so daunting and useful and informative and hopefully inspiring. Please share this with other business owners, especially if they're your friends and your family, because all of you want to do well. And this is one of those things that's going to separate you from the other business owners, especially your competitors. And so when one business grows and helps another business grow, we all grow and thrive. And that's what we're here for. So thanks for listening and have an amazing day.